going on, everybody? It's Devin Thomas back with another episode of Unscripted. Well, we did it, folks. We finally did it. We have officially moved out of our former house. And by we, I mean Stevie, Christine, and I. What a journey these last two months have been. I want to say this is episode 69. But that being said, that means this has been 9 weeks. So the whole process of moving was about, say, 9 to 10 weeks. There's obviously a lot of forethought moving into it, but yeah, holy shit. I can't believe we've actually fucking moved. I can't believe we're into the new place, which I gotta say, like, I'm not really thinking about the other place anymore. The new place is just so nice and it's just so perfect for us and for me. And I don't know, I'm really, really happy here. Yeah, so the other house, it was a long fucking, it was a long transaction. And the buyers they're good people. And like I said on other episodes, they're good people. They're the people that wanted the house the most, right? They really wanted it and they got it. But I think they got a little nutty midway through the deal. Like, and now that it's over, I can say this because obviously I wouldn't want to disparage somebody while they're trying to purchase the home. And like I said, they're good people. But holy shit, they just like ticky, tacky, any fucking thing that they could think of. They really wanted to fucking, beat us down on or try and make a thing. Like, yeah, look, I'll give you an example. We fucking cleared out the whole house. The house is done. We're no contingencies. And they go over and they try to turn on the fan remote. And because they didn't flip the fucking switch on the wall, they're like, the fan's not working. What are you trying to pull here? It's like, I'm not trying to pull fucking jack shit, buddy. Flip the switch, press the power button. The fan will come on. When the switch is down in the off position, no fucking fan light. Anyways, it's just one of many things. Even like the night before we closed, like we went over there, we cleaned the motherfuck out of this house. I'm not even kidding. Like we scrubbed her down one last time. And good God, they went with the other agent the next day. And she texted us saying like, hey, are you guys going to get the house cleaned before it closes? And we were just like, are you fucking kidding? I personally Swiffered this house like 8 times in a row. I wanted it to be super fucking nice for them. I of course I want it to be nice for them. They're spending a lot of money. I love the house. I wanted them to enjoy the house as much as I did. And yeah, it was just like, and this is in like the fucking final hour. They're like, hey, can you like get a professional cleaner? It's like, dude, are you fucking kidding? How much more can you ask for? You got the house. Enjoy it. It's yours now. And like we've officially closed today. What's today? July 8th? I believe it's July 8th, officially closed on our former home. So that's a wrap on living in town, living in the city of Salinas, which, for better or worse, it's nice to be out of there. I grew up in the countryside. There's something about like Monterey County and the countryside that's just like always felt more like home to me. I just like, quite frankly, that is what I know. Moving into the city was just a huge, I've lived in other cities. I lived in Los Angeles. I lived in actually, LA is the only other city I've really lived in, but I've been around. And I'll tell you what, like living in this city, it wasn't all that for me. And you can have like a nice place and you can live a good life. It just depends on what you're doing. For me personally, though, I was just kind of like, I was just over it. Yeah, I wasn't used to the fucking like, like driving through traffic and shit. I'm used to like straight shots from fucking out in the countryside. We're going to the one store we know. Before I even moved into town, like I remember even in high school, like I lived out in the countryside and I drive to fucking school and I knew the route to school. But like if I took a wrong turn into a neighborhood, I was like, I don't know where the fuck I'm at all. I would straight up get lost. And we're talking like 2010. So you had Google Maps, but it wasn't all that yet. It was still in its infancy compared to what it is now. I remember fucking even, printing out directions on road trips. That's early 2000s, mid 2000s. But besides the point, I'm not going to let this become a runaway rant. Yeah, the house is closed. Spiritually, I feel really fucking good. Mentally, I feel better than I have in months. Just like clarity, relaxation. Like, dude, like there's this weight on my shoulders from the move. Straight up for the past 2 to 3 months. Like it was pretty tough. I was just like, fuck. Like, cause look, I told you it was like living in a movie set. I felt displaced. I was recording my pod in my old studio, not my actual studio where I'd shoot the podcast. Cause I really used to shoot the pod in the garage. And if I have it, I'll post a picture of the old set. Cause I think like when people would come over and see my old set, they'd be like, I can't fucking believe this is it. Cause it looked produced as fuck. And then it's just like this setup that's like more minimal than you would think. But yeah, shooting pods in that extra room, it just wasn't the same. Like, to be quite frank, I loved having my like studio set up where it felt like, hey, like I just go and sit down, everything was there. I just drink coffee, click the fucking button, we're good to go. We're off to the races. And I'll have that here. Right now, the garage at this place is just filled to the brim with shit. We weren't able to get rid of, well, not even we weren't able to get rid of stuff, but we brought everything with us, right? We moved out an entire fucking home and we did it fast. Let's say this. Let me back up. Recording the pod in this new space, I'm loving it. I'm having a good time. The move. I didn't tell you about the move, how the actual move went. So, like, between July 1st and July 4th, we started bringing shit over to the new pad. July 1st is when, actually, no. July 1st, the person who owns the house I'm in now was like, hey, like, you can move in July 2nd. So, we're like, okay, we got the fucking contractual, you can go. July 2nd, we start bringing shit over. I'm driving shit in my truck. I'm driving shit in the Jeep. Like, just as many fucking cars as we could get filled with shit. We were just like, let's go. Brought shit over, packed the new place full. And then on the 3rd, we did the same thing. Just let's keep bringing shit over. And then we pretty much had like 90% of like, no, we had almost 100% of anything boxed up out of the house. Like all the white moving boxes, which was like most of our garage there. This garage is pretty full. The only thing we didn't get before July 4th was the furniture. So like, for whatever reason, we decided to book this guy at 7:30 in the morning on the 4th of July, which is like, I can't believe these movers even wanted to do it. But you know what? They were team fucking players, Fernando and Miguel, and they ended up being fucking awesome. So thank you guys again. But holy shit, not what you want to do on the 4th of July, right? But it ended up being pretty good. Everything was moved out virtually, and they came and picked up all the furniture, the sofas, the fucking TVs, everything. And these guys were fucking pros. Like, you hire a moving service, usually you think like a couple of college kid knuckleheads are like, yeah, I'll box your shit and carry it. Like, they don't give a fuck, really. These guys were like fucking experts. 2 guys moved an entire house in like an hour. I'd never seen anything like it. And we like drove to the new place, unloaded, drove back. He wouldn't let me lift a fucking finger. I offered to help. He's like, no, you're paying me. Like, just let me do it. And these guys were fucking, they knocked it out of the park. It was great. So we moved the whole fucking house. We went out and picked up this fucking fridge. It ended up not working, but a buddy said it would work. Got this fridge, brought it to the house, did one more load to our fucking friend's house who was like giving us some furniture, and then like got back. And then that was a wrap. Around like 1 or 2 o'clock, I think we finished up with the actual move. And then we were moved in. So like between the 2nd and the 4th, and I okay, so let me back up. Yesterday I was still at the Oak Street house, like cleaning shit up, and that was fine. But like everything was pretty much gone. Like I think the last thing we got was like straight up like boxes of like cardboard shit in the garage. So like I'll say this, between the 2nd and the 4th, like I moved like 99% of my home. And then the last few days leading up till the 7th, so like I guess 5th was my mom's birthday. Happy belated. 6th was just another day of cleaning over at that old house. 7th was yesterday, which was just literally like the final like clean. Like we went through literally nothing left. I pulled the internet out, gutted that motherfucker. We were out of there. So I haven't really had a lot of time to process. Mostly, I'd say this, between the 2nd and the 4th, I guess the point I was trying to get to, it was a blur. It's like, I can't fucking believe I moved my whole life. 4th to 7th, not so much a big deal because the 4th of July we hung out. 5th, my mom's birthday, we kind of chilled. And then the fucking 6 and 7 were just like, dude, like I just like mentally was shot. I was like, dude, I'm done moving. I just wanted to think about this. I wanted to do a fucking podcast. I want to write some fucking screenplays. I want to get back to filming shit. I don't want to fucking be moving anymore. And it's over. It feels good. Is it bittersweet that we're out of the old house? I guess a little. I'll say the nice things about the old house that I liked. I really liked that, we got to fucking make Peninsula Nights there. That was the most important thing to me, especially turning 30 when I was at that house and shit, was like, I got to make this movie for spiritual fulfillment. Just because I've always talked about doing it, I had to do it. And like fulfilling that goal was the most fulfilling thing I've ever done in my life. And now that I'm here, now that I've moved, we're in the right position, just where we're located financially, everything. The next thing I'm really looking forward to doing is making another film. I've talked about it so much throughout the past year. There's so many things out of my control that got in the way of me making a film, but that's okay. I've come to terms with it. This is how it was supposed to play out. Now I'm here in this beautiful fucking home out in the countryside in California, and I couldn't be happier. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? The other thing I really loved about my other house was the fireplace, great wood burner, making an incredible fire during the winter. It got real cold at that place, had original windows. So you'd fucking get by the fire. You know, we'd run the heater, but like, dude, PG&E in town was like a G a month, $1,000 a fucking month during the winter. How can they do that to people? You know, and I blame it on my thin windows, but fuck them. You know, fuck PG&E, most evil company on the planet, in my opinion. They just, how do they let them keep getting away with it? God only knows. Um, really love that fireplace though. It's like, you know, it's one of those things like burning actual wood is it sounds so stupid. There's something very primal about it. It's fucking nice to be next to that warm fucking fire inside your house. You know, I remember I was really into physics and I was talking with ChatGPT and like looking at the fire and I was just like, how, what is fire? Like, what is it really? You know, like, how does this even occur? And it's like, there's so much to it, like release of fucking energy within the wood and whatever the actual chemicals and fucking elements together, whatever. I don't have a fucking, you know, dissertation on it right now, but really loved having that wood burning fire. It was thought provoking. It was a nice spot to gather. And I think, you know, the other thing I'd miss maybe about this house was the kitchen. The kitchen was really good. We have this fucking banging GE oven. I cooked so many pizzas. I did a lot of secret pizza stuff there, which secret pizza will live again. Like I said, this last year, like between Stevie's health problems, other shit going on in my life, just, you know, making money and all those things, like, you know, it all, you gotta keep your eye on the ball. And, you know, I finally feel like, dude, like the plane's landing, the fucking turbulent flight of life is about to take a nice fucking land and it's all gonna be good. I'm gonna start making a movie. I'm gonna start fucking focusing on what I want to do again, which this is more me venting, I guess, spiritually, or just like saying like goals and like trying to manifest verbally. But yeah, it's really about getting back to what I love doing. You know, I had one break last year. I went to Europe and that was a great fucking trip, had a great fucking time. And I definitely look forward to returning to Europe. Beautiful place, beautiful people, and also just a different pace of life. Like it was very like for where I was in December of 2025, like it was just really important. I went, I needed that break to just kind of change up the pattern of what I'd been going through. And dude, it was incredible. Like I can't wait to return. But getting here now and being able to focus back, like because when you're moving, you're focused on moving. People are asking you a million questions. It'd be like directing a movie. Like your people are going to be asking you this, that. What do you want to do? Where do you want to spend the money? How do you want to do this? And it's like fuck, just for me, like the real estate end of shit. If you're actually doing a transaction, that's fine. I honestly, because you're less emotional about it. When you are actually going through a transaction, like selling or buying, there's something emotional more emotional about it for you. Like the house we actually got, I was like, fucking like I really wanted it. I wasn't too like, oh, if I don't get it, I'm gonna be heartbroken. I would have been upset, but I would have figured it out. Like I've learned with like homes and stuff, you really can't like be too emotionally invested unless like it's really in a sentimental home. That makes sense. But like you're gonna make your rational decisions. With my personal residence that I sold, getting out of there, like, my emotions toward it were pretty, like, mute by the time I got to where I was. I was agnostic. I was kinda like, "Yes, like, I have to sell it." There's multiple reasons why I sold, but particularly just, like, spiritually, like, getting out of there was important, and I feel like to land this fucking plane, like I've been saying, life got a little, off the path, you know, in these last few months, this last year, and like I said, for reasons out of my control, but everything seems to be pointing back to the North Star, I can see the path again. And I think it was just like moving, getting out of the house, actually fucking finishing the move. I can just think about what I want to do again. I literally also this neighborhood I'm in is beautiful. It's private, very small, I think 43 residences. It's so small. Let me all right, moving on. The other house, sad. Loved it, but you know what? I think it's important to move on. And I really love the new house. I'm not sad anymore. Okay. I'm in this beautiful neighborhood. It's small, private residences. It's so small that the HOA has a welcoming committee. And as we're moving in, this lady comes over. Her name's Lori. She's part of the HOA. Her and her husband, I believe, Cliff. And man, she's the sweetest lady ever. I actually was in the shower when she got here, and I like was like, "Who the hell is here?" I heard somebody come. I thought maybe a neighbor. Get out of the shower. I come in and I introduce myself, and she's just so nice. And you can tell that I'll say this, the neighborhood is a little bit more, it's elderly compared to my age, you know? When we told her age or our age, she was just like, "Oh my god, like, I can't believe you guys are, like, in your 30s." Like, she was blown away. She's like, "Fuck, wow." I don't know if they had a betting pool going on, but I think they're like, "Yeah, they're way younger than we thought," you know? But I think after meeting us, she was reassured that we're not like the, crazy hooligan types, if you wanna say that. We're good people, and we're gonna make sure that we don't, disturb the peace too often. I kid. But yeah, she was really cool. She gave us this great fucking map that showed like parts of Fort Ord that you could travel to from the property, which was pretty cool. I wasn't expecting to have like direct access from where we're at, but I guess the property backs up to it. So I actually, this is random. This is an aside. I read the pamphlet she gave me that has like the map of the trails and stuff. I had no idea that Fort Ord was here since like 1917. I'm gonna give you guys a history lesson really quick because I just got one. It said it was there since 1917. I think it was named after a Civil War veteran or maybe somebody who'd passed. I don't remember, general. Perhaps his name was Ord. Um, and they said they used to train the cavalry out here. Yeah, I just was mind blown. I'm like, kind of makes sense. This beautiful countryside that kind of goes into this more like sandy, oceanic, coastal type of fucking environment. Fort Ord, it's very strange. It was shut down in 1991, a few years before I was born. So it was like, okay, like I never knew it, but the military thought it was valuable to have this thing here to train the cavalry, to train, I think 1.5 million troops trained here between 1917 and 1991. There was Vietnam soldiers trained here, I imagine, some Gulf War, any fucking really major war. They obviously had people going. I mean, think of 1917, we're talking about like possible World War I cavalry soldiers trained out here in fucking Fort Ord. It's pretty mind blowing, you know? And anyways, you hear stories about people finding ordnance or old shit out there and all that. Obviously, you gotta tread with caution, but I just thought it was incredible. It was giving me movie ideas. I was also just like, I don't know, it's just unique. It's a part of history around this area that like is forgotten. Like really, Fort Ord now, like you have like General Jim Moore Road or whatever, and then Imgen and shit. They're probably all named after people from the military. And I don't know. I find it very interesting that that was going on. I also don't understand why they closed it. It was decommissioned. I think it was Clinton was decommissioning military bases. I'm not quite sure if it was him or perhaps uh, the George Bush Senior, but I just thought it was interesting. Very interesting history. I'm excited to go and hit those trails and just get out and about. I've been walking in town in the city for the last few years, and like, look, no hate to the town, but like when you walk at night in the city, it is a fucking little dodgy, a little sketchy, and I don't have to look over my shoulder out here. I'm not going to be walking the Fort Ord fucking trail at night because I guarantee you there's mountain lions and shit out there. But the neighborhood itself is like a gated HOA, so like no more worries. I mean, I think the worst thing I'm going to run into is maybe somebody coming home from the wine bar a little tipsy. No, I'm kidding. But anyways, new house is great. Everything is pretty fucking sweet here. Sorry, I thought the laptop died. I was like, dude, are you fucking kidding? Right in the middle of this. New place is good. I got my nose on my phone again. Better lifestyle. Oh, I'll boast a little bit more about the location. I put better lifestyle on my notes. It's got a great clubhouse, which is attached to the pool area, and then the sauna. The sauna I haven't gotten to work yet. I was looking forward to it really fucking like a lot. And the fact it's not operating, like I guess the control panel's a little fucked up. It's a little disappointing. But I got the pool, got the hot tub, and then the clubhouse, which is right there, is also doubles as like the HOA meeting house. And it's so funny. This thing is like out of like the past. Just a bookshelf full of James Patterson novels. Uh Two bathrooms that are like, his and hers. And like it's just funny. They got like the typical like funny little like billboards and posters up on the wall. I guess like kind of like knick-knacky, something you get at a gift shop. And they're funny. It's like the shit you like actually can appreciate. Like now everything's a meme, but like seeing it printed and like night, you're like, this is good humor. Tons of Merrill Farms like fucking photography of like the local area and stuff. It's very interesting. It's quite filled and riddled with local lore, which is something that like I can appreciate quite a bit, being from the area. But yeah, so we have the fucking clubhouse, and on the clubhouse wall, this is what I want to say. The agenda was like, it looks all serious, it's like call to order, like this meeting, and it says item slash like whatever to after call to order, like to be discussed, and it says like pool repairs, HOA insurance, and it says meeting adjournment. It's like, dude, wow, like we got some serious problems in the neighborhood. No, I think it's funny. I think it's nice because it almost is like reassuring that this is like a low stress environment. The things you're worrying about up here are going to be a little bit different than like, town. There's no HOA, which I'm not saying you need it. And like, HOA fees can suck, but like, honestly, like it works out the way we did it. But oh my God, just seeing that. And it was funny. Like I saw like the newsletter they send like, it's like, hey, like saw a squirrel today or like saw a bunny rabbit. It's so innocent and nice and almost like comforting. And I don't know. I like it. It reminds me a lot of like who I was growing up and shit. And like, I don't know, just being out here in the countryside of Monterey County is fucking truly fantastic. I can't express how happy I am to be here. But yeah, welcoming committee was great. Haven't really explored. Look, these last few days, like you can probably hear it in my voice, like I just fucking have been nonstop working. Even setting up this pod, Stevie and Christine helped me set it up, and I was like, should I even do it tonight? Should I? And it's like, fuck it, I'm already here. Let's just do it. Let's bang this thing out. Um, I don't want to keep the people waiting. It's been 8 days, and I always like look at my YouTube and I'm like, how long has it been? Like 1 day late, okay. 4 days late, that's cutting it. Like so, like between 7 to 10 days. That's like my like absolute like if I don't do it after 10 days, I'm like, what am I quitting? Like I start having imposter fucking syndrome with podcasting. But and it's funny, I'll say this, not to be the podcaster who talks about podcasting, but like, the podcast started off as something I just really wanted to do. And now it's become so ritualistic and routine. It would feel weird not to do it. I feel naked without it, you know? So on that note, I'm glad to be back here in front of the mic, talking to you good people. Let me get a little water. I'm in the solarium, which is like an indoor outdoor room at the house. And it gets a little toasty in here, but like honestly, it's perfect right now. It's 9 o'clock at night. It's got to be like 50, 60 degrees outside, and it's still very, very nice in here. It's probably like a little under 70. It's cozy. Also, my cat's coming. She's this little princess. She's out and about. So if anything goes fucking wrong, we have a fiasco. You know who to blame. What are you doing, baby? You can probably hear her. She's itching. I'm gonna let her do her thing. All right. So yeah, it's been a good move. It's been a fucking. It's been nice. Also, like one more thing I'll say about the move. This is what I want to say. We don't have any internet. We don't have any TVs. I've been kind of falling asleep to like maybe some YouTube or something on my phone, but like I was so exhausted the first few days of moving. I didn't fucking need anything. I just went and laid in bed. Very dark here, a lot of natural light. Um, but not having a TV and like just being out here in nature, it's like honestly, it's been fucking relaxing. I think I've talked about this a bit. People were living in that analog era for a long time, and then the digital explosion happened. Everything's online, social media, and like, dude, if I could draw one conclusion from everything that's happened over these last few days and living without that type of technology, I've said this, like when your phone breaks, you almost feel like I'm free from it. Why are we so committed to this technology shit? Like, I've had a lot of fucking peace of mind just like kind of just living throughout my day. Like, I've been fully present. When I do get internet, sure, I check it, but because I haven't been like habitually checking it and chronically online like I was before, I'm kind of like, whatever. Do I even really fucking, how much do I even care about this shit? I barely posted on social. I mean, I posted today. I posted a story to let people know I'm still alive. But yeah, it just makes you think. Makes you think about how like little we really need all this shit and how much we are fucking plugged in. I think unplugging is kind of like I think it's the new, not spiritual, but the new bougie almost to like not be fucking so plugged in. Princess, come on. There you go. But not even bougie. I think it's the wrong thing to say. I think it's the new wellness. That's what I really wanted to say. The new wellness is being unplugged and spending less time on the internet, less time on the apps, less time watching reels, less time worrying about shit. I haven't really watched the news in the last few days. I've been following the Charlie Kirk hearing, which who fucking knows? I mean, evidence points towards this Tyler Robinson guy. We'll get into that. It's a whole nother fucking bag. But watching the news, I was like watching a lot of 24/7 news at my house previously, different ones, but the news is just a negativity machine. And I don't hate the news. I don't, I like to watch it. Sometimes it can be nice, but I mean, dude, we're living in a time where news is just all opinion. Like, I try to watch something unbiased, but like, I truthfully think there is no unbiased, unopinionated news that isn't motivated by politics of one side or money of another. Like, I've truly become an independent thinker also, if I could say that. Not just an independent thinker, I think more like politically independent. I kind of have a little bit more altitude than I have ever had. Not even kind of, I have more altitude than I've ever had on politics and like looking down at like media and all this shit. Like, you could watch movies and they kind of explain this to you as well, but it's just like at this point, I have like the veil is fully off. Like, I get it, it's cut and dry how like media thinks and how these things work, and like Some shit's just completely neutral. It has nothing. Like, you don't watch MasterChef and think of politics. Like, look, there's some stuff that's untainted by that. But if you watch like regular old news between Fox, CNN, MS Now, all that shit, dude, they're all fighting each other. They don't really, they're trying to win your opinion, but they're really just all fighting each other. They're trying to sway enough people to fucking agree with me, agree with them. Um, and you even look at the fucking more, not outliers, but the fringe types that are like out there, like, the Candace Owens or like the Tucker Carlson and like the fringe in terms of like outside of the mainstream media now, they are fucking like just there's people that just follow them. There's people that just follow fucking Tucker Carlson, or there's people that just follow so and so, right? And it goes on both sides. It's just crazy how much like the media has been oriented at this point to not inform you as much as to fucking tell you what to think. And like I'm aware of it. Even when I'm watching news and I hear shit like I saw a clip on TV the other day. I think it was I don't even remember what news it was on, but the person said one of the fucking talking points, and then the next person read the exact same thing and said, "Oh, sorry, I think you just read that one." I'm like, "Yeah, like even you guys, like how much of this is your original thought?" Obviously, like I get it, it's television, they have talking points and stuff, but like it was literally the same thing. I'm like, "All right, stick to the script, sweetheart." But I don't know. I've just been looking at all this stuff lately, and like really, like it's just a crazy thing. And I think from having some space, I'll say this too, having some space from watching the news constantly and shit, you have time to think about what they're saying more so than just being like, well, that's unbelievable. I'm outraged, or like being triggered, or believing this or that. So, anyways, I'll say this to say that, or say that to say this. Having time to think between things. Look, the last thing I watched before I moved out was The Godfather. I watched about 30 minutes and I was just like, fuck, I got to finish this movie, right? The only other movie I have watched in the last probably fucking week is Deep Blue Sea. I put Deep Blue Sea, 1999, on Tubi to try and fall asleep. And I watched probably 25 minutes and then like I got tired and I was like, all right, I'm gonna pause it and just I put on like some YouTube, some news or some shit, right? Something just to hear people talking, honestly. I need a little mumbling in the background. White noise. But all I could think about right now is Deep Blue fucking Sea. Princess, don't do it. Sorry. Psst, 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 psst. She's trying to get up on my laptop. You're gonna fuck the show up, Princess. Come on. Anyways, all I can think about is Deep Blue Sea. And it's funny, when was the last time you watched a fucking movie and didn't finish it? You only watched 25 minutes and you're like, God, like, I wonder what happens next. I've seen the movie many times before. It's probably been 10 years since I've seen it, maybe even longer. But I remember watching it a lot as a kid. We'd watch it at sleepovers and shit. We loved the movie. But isn't that funny that because I have consumed so many films, like Netflix binge watching constantly, incessantly fucking next movie, that I can still, it's been probably 3 days since I watched Deep Blue Sea and The Godfather. And I'm still thinking, I'm like, God, I really want to finish the fucking Godfather. But Deep Blue Sea, like, I really want to see how it plays out. Why not? I was enjoying the vibe, the production, the type of movie it was. This horror thriller shark movie, that takes place underwater. It's got all the elements. It's like, The Abyss meets Jaws. And I think that's the power of like limited consumption, is that you can actually like remember things you want to remember and not be like, well, I watched like 20 minutes of that movie earlier and backed out on Netflix. And then I was kind of watching this thing on Amazon Prime, but then like, kind of backed out of that too. And it's like when you have so many options, it almost makes it like worthless feeling. Like you need to feel like it's special. Like right now, I think fucking Deep Blue Sea is very special. It's the movie I got to see. Um, but yeah, I think that's just like my little commentary perhaps on just technology and being so wired in, being on the internet all the time. And yeah, just it feels good to take a little bit of a break and have a little distance. Admittedly, too, I've had a lot of people that want to talk and reach out, and like I've just been so fried mentally. Today I actually felt pretty good. I went out, did some shopping at fucking Marshall's, get fucking basics for the house, like shower caddy and shit. I got to return some shit I bought too much. What else did I do? Yeah, just kind of like, just getting a feel for like the lifestyle over here. Now that I'm like where I'm located too, like I'm just like never going back into town, going all over to the peninsula all the time to get shit. I was in Sand City earlier, but yeah, I don't remember what I was saying. What was I saying? I was talking about lifestyle, moving here, whatever. Doesn't matter. Being at this house is sweet. Being at this location is great. And having okay, I remember what I was saying. I was talking about the Wi-Fi and like internet having the distance. It's nice. And being at this house and being able to even just like have a new pattern of where I'm going and shit on top of the disconnection from constant technology, or movies and stuff. It's been really fucking great. That being said, we are getting Starlink. We're going to try it out. It's a little pricey, but actually it's not that bad. It's like $5 more a month than what we were paying before. But besides the point, we don't get that till like I think the 21st. The guy has to come and install the fucking dish or whatever. But I'm excited to try it. It's fucking powerful. I think it's 400 Mbps or whatever. I don't even know what they measure it with. But it's supposed to be fucking kick ass. And I'm excited to get that. It'll be nice to have internet just for like looking shit up. Like even fucking trying to use my laptop and stuff. I'm like, oh fuck, I don't have any internet. Like I'll have to make a hotspot with my phone. And even then I'm like, I never trust the hotspot. I'm like, yeah, like I feel like it's just expensive. Just when you use it, it feels like it's an expensive tool. But I digress. Uh yeah. I do have the movies I watched before I moved out though, because I was watching fucking a ton of movies before I moved out of the house, and we'll hop into that. Just one second. I am fucking parched. God damn, this water's fucking ice cold. It's nice. Tell you what. Also save some money. We got to bring our fridge from the other house. The fucking buyers, they wanted everything in the world, but they didn't want our garage fridge, which is a blessing because we went and got a different fridge because we thought they wanted to keep it. I kind of said this earlier, but the one we went and got, it didn't even fucking work. We were like, okay, so had to have it hauled off and get the other one. Thankfully, we got it, but it's keeping those waters cold. All right, so I did watch some movies this week, despite all the fucking chaotic shit going on. And yeah, some of these movies, we kind of had a theme. We watched a few movies about, well, at least the first two. The first two were about Iran, which is very topical right now. I think everybody in the fucking world knows that we're in a war with Iran, uh, which I quite frankly think has gone on way too fucking long. Yeah, I think it's probably Trump's biggest mistake, in my opinion. I do appreciate the idea of trying to stop nuclear weapons because I don't think the Iranians should have it personally, but that's besides the point. I think he got talked into this, and it has just dragged on way longer than he wanted. Because if I know anything about Donald fucking Trump, he doesn't like something that makes him not look good, and I think that he's vain in that sense. And I think that it doesn't look like an excursion anymore. It's starting to look like a longer fucking war. And yeah, and that being said, I've been seeing to say that I've been seeing a lot of content about Iran and a lot of clips from this movie that kept going around. And perhaps other people have seen this movie, not without my daughter. Clips are going around TikTok, they're going around Instagram. Some say this movie is a propaganda film. Some say it's based on a true story. So some say it's propaganda, and then some say like, oh, that's just the truth, of the woman's story. But we'll get into it. And I'm taking this with a more unbiased opinion. Not without my daughter, 1991. Oh, no. Sorry, my fucking cat, Princess. She wants to get to the, you want the fucking candle? I don't think you do. Come on, baby. Psst, psst, down. Let's go, baby. I'm so sorry. She loves me. What can I say? Not Without My Daughter, 1991. Director, Brian Gilbert. Writer, David Rentals. Director of photography, Peter Hannon. Cast, Sally Field as Betty Mahmoudi, Alfred Molina as Moody Mahmoudi, and Sheila Rosenthal as Matab. Based on a true story, family survival and resilience, strong lead performance by Sally Field. I couldn't disagree with those fucking notes. It's funny I made those. Look, the movie is about a woman, Sally Fields, Betty, who marries Moody and has a daughter, Matab. They live in Michigan. They live on the lake in a beautiful countryside home. Moody works at the local hospital, and Betty is a stay-at-home mom, I believe. I don't even think she has a job in the movie. And she raises Matab. That's her job. Well, Moody keeps getting calls from his family back home in Iran. And the movie, I believe, takes place in 1984. So this is very close to the period of time after the U.S. Embassy shut down. I'll talk about it later. I watched Argo as well. I thought it was a nice double feature. But this is during that time. So Iran's in a lot of changes, right? This is during the Islamic Revolution. So Moody's getting calls from back home, and Betty's like, what's wrong? Like, it doesn't sound good on the phone. He goes, it's fine. Like, it's Alfred Molina. I'm going to do his voice. He's like, it's fine. Nothing. And Betty's like, okay. And then he gets on a call the next day and like, or he goes to work and like, you can kind of see like there's people that are like anti-Iranian and like Moody hears them talking shit and saying like, oh, like doctors in Iran, they probably get a fucking license in a week. And he's just like offended. He's reading like an paper written with, I think it's Farsi, Arabic, language on it. And he's offended. And then it turns out that he gets fired from his job. He does not tell Betty though. And he's like, hey, Betty, we got to go back to Iran. My family there's an emergency. And she's like, of course we'll go. So they all fly to Iran. And when they get there, it's really bad. That's the depiction. I'm not saying Iran's bad in general. I'm saying in this movie, it's depicted as like fucking extreme government. Like the Ayatollah is taking over. It's not good. If you don't fucking like in Betty, when she gets there, is like, okay, like I didn't realize like people still had to cover up and stuff. And she's scared. She's like kind of like, oh, this is really different. And then when they get to Moody's family's house, you can tell they don't really like her. They're like, oh, she's not Muslim. She doesn't really wear the garb and do all the things. And she thinks like, okay, well, we're only here for a little bit, right? Like a 2-week trip. Well, as time starts going on, she starts hating being there. She starts thinking like, I don't know how much these people even really like me. And she tells Moody like, I really want to just get back to America. Like this isn't for me. Also, while they're out, she's walking through like the bazaar or whatever, the market, and her hair's out. And like this fucking like Ayatollah or whatever, the fucking government at the time comes out and is like, hey, like they're gonna fucking kill her. And they're like, no, like she's American, it's a mistake. And they make her like tuck every fucking hair behind her head, like they're ready to fucking blast her. And she's just like, holy fucking shit, this is extreme. So she goes home that night and she tells Moody, like, look, like your family doesn't like me. I feel alone here. I want to go home. And he says, no, we're going to stay in Iran. And he's like, I want to raise our daughter to be Muslim and I don't want you're going to learn to love this life. Right. And she's just like, I don't want to go. And he just gets physical with her. He like literally slaps her. He's like, no, in this country, like I own your ass. So she gets stuck there. And you see, they show passage of time. She starts having to wear the clothing. She starts having to kind of start doing the practices. She starts having to learn the language. Her daughter starts going to school. She does meet somebody during that time that is also from Michigan as well, another woman who married an Iranian man. And she tries to connect with her, but the woman's so scared of her husband. She's like, no, I can't. Like, we can't even fucking be friends. She tells her a secret. She gives her a letter. She's like, you mail this to my family. Also, Moody, the Alfred Molina character, he won't even let her make a phone call back home. When her family calls, he says, stop calling. She's fine. Don't worry about her. Don't ask about the kid. He's fucking crazy. When he gets there, he's also like initially kind of like, this is really different than I remember before I left. And then he kind of was like, fuck it. Well, this is my people. This is my fucking family. I'm fucking staying, whether you like it or not. So when she tries to even talk to this other woman and give her the letter to mail, her husband comes back with the letter and throws and says, you're fucking lying to your husband. I'm going to tell him. And he's like, you could tell he like obviously beat up his wife. Like she was scared as fuck. So anyways, her whole time, Sally Field's character, Betty, the whole time Betty is trying to plot how to escape with Matab. She wants to get her daughter and get the fuck out of there. Opportunity comes up for her to go like out to places alone. She tries to make phone calls. And eventually, while she's out, she just goes into a store and meets a guy who's like sympathetic. He's like, oh, I get it. Like she kind of tells her situation. She's like, I use your phone. He's like, what? She's like, I want to call America. And he's like, I actually know people that help people get out of here because like I understand the situation you're in. You didn't know. Here's the deal. She also, Betty, before I get too far, Betty tries to go to the embassy. There's no US embassy. She goes to the Swiss embassy. And when she goes there, they tell her like, oh, like, don't you know, like when you marry an Iranian man, you become a citizen of Iran, same with your kids. And if you get divorced, the husband gets the kids in the divorce. There's no, like, that's just the law of the land. You're fucking stuck here. He takes her passport. She goes to the embassy thinking she can get like, deported or extradited. Nope. They're just like straight up, you're fucking stuck here. There's no going home. Unless your husband gives you written permission, you're stuck in fucking Iran. Like you're basically his property. And she freaks out. So during that time, she's going to the market. She's trying to figure out any fucking way to get out of this country. And she lands on meeting that guy at the store. Meets a guy at a store and he's like, hey, look, like, I'll help you get out. She's like, do I pay you? He's like, pay me when you get home. He's like, I get it. So she starts working with him, conspiring to get out. Her daughter's going to school. She does something. She goes to visit the guy who's helping her escape again. And while she's doing that, the husband finds out because he's like, you were late to the school. And like, he drags her off and he tells her like, I'm going to fucking kill you. He's like, you either fucking be disciplined. And this is after her trying to pretend to be like really into the Muslim culture and be one of these people. And how do I say, like, She like tries to speak the language. She tries to wear the fucking garb. She tries to be like 100% like what he wants because she's trying to play him to get out. And eventually, her husband says you can fly home because like I think her dad is sick, and they're like, he's like, hey, like if you want to go back to America, you can. And she's like, really? And he's like, of course. He's like, if your parents are sick, like he's a completely different person. He's like, go. And she's like, okay. And he's like, I'll book the ticket for you. Da, da, da. And she's like, what about Matab? He goes, oh no, 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 no. Our daughter's not going back to America. You just come back after. And she's just like, fuck. Obviously, she doesn't want to come back to Iran. So she decides they had the plan to leave. I think a few days after the flight that her husband booked, the other guy's like, hey, like this is the date you leave. And she's just like, I can't wait that long because if I leave the country and my daughter's alone, like we're fucked. And he's like, all right. He's like, then fucking let's just try and do it at the same time. So she literally like scoops her daughter up from school, or what is it? She tells the family there it's everything's good. They all believe that she's in on their thing, right? She's fully committed. And she fucking plays them. She's like, hey, like I'm just gonna go and buy some stuff for my parents before I head back to America. I'm gonna take my top with me to the market. And they're like, oh, okay. The women fully trust her. They all hated her initially, but they fully trust her at this point. They're like, oh, she's finally one of us. She's finally assimilated. And she fucking dips. And they go on this. The last 20 or 30 minutes of the movie is this horrifying journey. She's supposed to go out through the Gulf, like to Dubai, the Emirates. Instead, she goes from Tehran out through the north. And it's just this terrifying journey for a woman. Mind you, this is all based on a true story. This really happened to this lady. She goes through the mountains. She gets men to take her. Men she doesn't know, doesn't speak the same language for the most part of. They take her passport. She's like completely on this trip on goodwill. She thinks like, you know what? God will guide me on this fucking trip. And at one point, one of the gentlemen that are taking her, not even a gentleman, one of the fucking guys that is taking her on this trip literally tries to rape her in the middle of the night. And she screams. And then one of the other guys, who's like the good one, he's like, hey, dude, what are you fucking kidding? You're trying to rape the person we're helping? And like her daughter's laying next to her. It's disgusting. And then the guy gets angry and he drives off with the car. And the guy's like, fuck it. He's like, look, I'm going to drive you right now. We're going to go as far as we can, right? Drives her to another border. And every border checkpoint is fucking crazy. AK-47s. Like, it's just like, exactly what you'd fucking expect. Just like not like it's lawless, And she is terrified every fucking beat of the way. And finally she gets on like this bus and this guy says like, here's your passport. It's like, good luck. And she's like, okay. She doesn't really know where she's going. Not even a bus. I think she's in a fucking car. And the car drops her off and she gets out and she just turns around and boom, it's the U.S. Embassy. And I believe maybe it was Syria, maybe Turkey. I can't remember what country it was. Or maybe it was like Kazakhstan. But she looks and sees the American flag and the movie ends. Great fucking ending. And obviously it makes you never happier to fucking see the American flag, the Stars and Stripes. The movie itself I thought was really good. Like I enjoyed the movie. It was well fucking made, well directed, well acted. Everything 10 out of 10. The movie online was trash. Like it was about 50-50. 50% of people were like, I loved it. And 50% of people were like, this is propaganda trash. So like, do I think it was propaganda myself? No, because it's a true accounting of a woman's life. Like I'd be very bold to make up this big of a fucking lie. There's just no way, right? This is her story. This is her truth. I get where people could be offended because obviously if you're Iranian or like a fan of Iran to some extent, you might be like, well, this is fucking just complete lies. But it's like, I don't know. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Iran myself. I don't like the war. I don't like anybody dying. I don't dislike Iranians, but like their actual government and shit, the way they treated people, not a fan, to say the fucking least. So I didn't see it as propaganda. I saw it more as just a film that was trying to shine a light on, the truth of truth of their culture and society and their government and the way they run things and like how women are treated in that culture, which I don't agree with at all. Very interesting. And also just like truly makes you appreciate like the freedoms we have as Americans, not to get too patriotic about it, but like, we live in a country where if women weren't allowed to drive a car or vote, you'd be like, that's fucking crazy. That's like the first thought that comes to my head is like, we're not going to let people do stuff now. There, it's like, well, you're a citizen as soon as you get married, and also you can't leave without your husband's permission. Doesn't sound very free to me. Not a fan of that. And I think this movie really showed like how hard it could be for not only American women, but any woman who grows up in Iran and that culture. It could be really tough. I feel like you have a very suppressed lifestyle. A lot of things that are just, it seems like there's a lot of rules for the sake of just having rules, and for power and control is what I usually think rules are for. I also think religion, all religion, not just, perhaps Islam or Muslim culture, there's a sense of control and power within all of them. We watch a lot of the Warren Jeffs, the FLDS, the found was it Fundamentalists, Latter Day Saints, and those people are crazy too. It's insane. Like there's people that will just weaponize religion for the sake of power and control, and I think this movie shines a light on that. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's blowing up on TikTok. The name once again is Not Without My Daughter, 1991. Very interesting film. Never heard of it till now. It's sometimes there's movies that like don't get a lot of light shine on them because people are kind of like, "Oh, let's let that one slide away." Like maybe people didn't like it, or Hollywood didn't like it, or other people didn't like it. So next movie I watched was Argo, 2012. Director Ben Affleck, writer Chris Terrio, director of photography Rodrigo Prieto. Rodrigo is fucking a hell of a DP. If I'm not mistaken, he shot Maverick. I mean, this guy is a fucking pro. One of the finest in the business, to say the least. Starring Ben Affleck as Tony Menendez, or Mendez rather, Bryan Cranston as Jack O'Donnell, Alan Arkin as Lester Siegel, John Goodman as John Chambers. What can I say? One second. Goddamn, I'm talking a lot. It's got me thirsty. Argo's a fucking banger. I remember when it came out, I was 19. Yeah, it's probably 18 or 19. And at that point in my life, like I understood how the world worked, but not as well as I do now. We just watched this movie the other night. At 33, this movie was incredibly like different to watch. I understand uh the political angles of it more. I understand what was going on during that time. It just made a lot more sense. And like, if you haven't seen Argo, it's about the CIA operation to extract people from the embassy in Tehran during the 1979, I guess, revolt that happened, the revolution, the Islamic Revolution in Iran, which resulted in people not liking USA there very much. There was a leader that was kind of installed by the Brits and the Americans back in like, I think it was the 40s or 50s, maybe it was the 60s. It was the Shah. And the Shah lived an opulent lifestyle. He tried to westernize Iran, and the Iranians hated it and freaked out, and they overthrew him. But he got sick and he was dying, and he just flew to the United States for like, asylum. So the people were pissed. They're like, fuck USA for taking away the guy. We want to hang him and fucking kill him ourselves. So the next best thing is the US embassy, and they go there and they're rioting, and eventually they breach the embassy, and I want to say they kill some Marines or some people that work at the embassy. And then there's a group of people, there's like 7 people or 6 people from the US embassy that escaped to the Canadian embassy, and they just lived there for like, I think it's like 60 or 70 days. And eventually they cut down to the wire, and like Ben Affleck's character is told by the CIA that like, hey, like we got to get him out like tonight, like by like the end of the week. Otherwise, like these people are gonna figure out, because they shredded documents, but like our intelligence tells us that they're literally putting together the shreds to see the photos of people. They're trying to fucking find out who's missing at this point, right? Because they want to kill Americans. And Tony, Ben Affleck's character, is like, okay, well, he's like the best at, they call him, I think, exfiltration, like that he's the best at it. And they have a meeting, and he's just listening to all the ideas. They're like, we could get him to ride bikes like 200 miles or 300 miles north. And he's just like, well, look at it. Look at this picture of the newspaper. It's the winter. You can't have people riding bikes in the winter. And he points out every flaw in their plan. He says, look, we got to rethink this. He's like, the best way out of there, though, is the airport. Like, fly him out. They're like, yeah, it's just not going to happen. There's no fucking way we can do it. The Iranians have the airport locked down. It's militarized. They're literally like, fucking, they think everyone's a suspect. So he goes home, and as he's at home, he's watching Planet of the Apes with his fucking son. He calls him up on TV. He's kind of like separated from his wife in the movie. And Tony's on the phone with fucking his son, and his son's like, oh, I'm watching Planet of the Apes. He's like, what channel? He turns it on, and when he turns it on, he's casually watching it, but he sees like it's a desert, and he's like, holy shit, what if we just said we were making a movie out in Tehran in the desert, like a science fiction film? Maybe we could just fly these people out as if they were a film crew. Pretty genius fucking idea. So that's exactly what he does. He goes to Hollywood. He meets up with John Goodman's character, John Chambers. He meets up with the Alan Arkin character, the Lester Siegel. And they put together a fake fucking movie called Argo. They find a script. They make storyboards. They get pressed. They do a fucking table read with the actors. is so legitimate, and it just shows you, like, the extent, like, the CIA or any three-letter agency will go to make an absolutely fucking perfect cover-up story to make something work, right? And it was pretty cool, they end up fucking, pulling it together. The CIA hates it, and it gets signed off on, though, and they end up being like, "This is our best option." So, like, Bryan Cranston's character, the Jack O'Donnell, is like, "Alright, yeah, go to Tehran, do it." Ben gets there, he meets with the people at the Canadian embassy, and they're all like, "This is fucking crazy." All the actual, like, I won't call them prisoners, but the people that from the embassy that are, like, kind of like hostages to some extent are like, "This sounds fucking nuts." They're like, "We're gonna get killed." And he's like, "Look, we have no other option. This is it." He's like, "Here's your backgrounds." He gives them their identities. They read them. He gives them this. He gives them that. Storyboard. He's like, "You're this person in the crew. You're that person in the crew. You learn your fucking identity tonight. Like, we're straight up heading out in like 48 hours." And he said, like, "Tomorrow morning, we're going to go on a location scout with the fucking Iranian, like, I think it's the minister of like art or whatever." They go out to the market. They're doing it there. It's intense. They end up feeling like, hey, like this, it worked enough to fool them, but they're like, who knows how like well this will hold up when we get to the airport. They go home that night. Uh, they all have like a little party, and then Ben Affleck gets a call from like the CIA, and they're like, "Hey, like pull the plug. We're not doing this. This idea is too risky." The White House saw it, and they're just not about it. They think this is the dumbest thing, and they're like, even though they signed off on it, they're gonna pull the plug. And Ben's just thinking like, these people are fucking dead, and so am I if I can't get out of here. So he ends up, even the Canadian ambassador is just like, dude, they called me too, and they said like, hey, call it off. And he's just like, all right, let him have fun. And then the next morning, well, Ben kind of goes back to his hotel room and he has like a cigarette and he's just thinking, he's like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, you can just tell the look in his eyes, like, I'm going to do it anyways. Next morning, he shows up. The Canadian ambassador is surprised to see him, but he's kind of like, all right, like, good. These people are going to die if you don't take them because we can't take them. They're going to escape right after them. Also, the housemaid at the Canadian embassy, she starts to realize that they're the Americans that are missing. She's like, oh, fuck, I didn't realize that. So, anyways, the morning, Ben picks them up. They all head to the airport. And, like, literally, Ben tries to call the Bryan Cranston character, the Jack O'Donnell, and, like, tell him, like, hey, like, we're headed to the fucking airport. Like, you guys need to make this work. Otherwise, they're going to get caught at the airport. We're all going to die. It's going to be a huge headline for you. So he literally has to like beg the White House to like print the tickets because they have it's Jimmy Carter has to sign off and say like, yeah, we'll do it. And he denied it. And they get to the airport and like the tickets aren't coming through. And it's a great beat of tension. And eventually they get it through. They get into the airport. And then like that whole scene at the airport, that's really, in my opinion, like one of the most intense scenes of the movie. It just shows you like the people that he trained, the Tony Menendez or Mendez character trained to do this operation, they realized they didn't really believe in it. Like, this is crazy. And when they got there, the guy who believed in it the least was like, fuck, okay, I get what you want me to do now. I need to be this art director who's like, here's how the story is being told. He like, the Iranians don't buy it. And they are so deep on it. They're so in character. They're like, oh, here's like what actually happened. Here's the story. The guy still doesn't believe him after he explains what happened, like what's going on with the storyboards and shit. He has to call the office, and like there's a great beat of tension with John Goodman and the Alan Arkin character while they're walking across the lot, and like, it looks like Paramount or Burbank. And they fucking finally answer the phone. The Iranian guy believes it. He's like, okay, so this is Hollywood. He's like, these guys aren't completely lying. Like, the office number works for the movie production, and like every single fucking thing adds up. It shows you the ingenuity of like how organizing something, even if it's fake, and making it feel legitimate, like it just, why would somebody question it if it doesn't? Like, he calls the production studio, the Iranian military guy, and it's like, this is so and so, like page 6 movies or whatever. And he's just like, just hangs up. He's like, okay, like obviously they're not fucking lying. And it just shows you, I don't know why I think Ben Affleck was attracted to the story is because it's not only got roots in Hollywood, but it also is just a fucking crazy idea that the CIA would like literally go to that depth. It also shows you how much like the Hollywood and CIA probably work together more often than you think. But I mean, they pulled off quite the op, and I get why Affleck was like, this is a story that people need to know. It's an incredible story, and it's an incredible achievement, and probably one of the most fucking weirdest ways to get somebody out of an airport, or not an airport, but of a country that doesn't want him there. It's crazy. He literally said the airport's the best way, and he figured out a way to make that work. The Tony Mendez character. And in the movie at the end, they kind of talk about how like this wasn't disclosed till I think the 90s because it was obviously classified. But I don't know, it's pretty cool. Just a cool fucking movie. I know it won Best Picture, it won a couple Oscars, but maybe Best Director too for Ben. But it's probably look. I think The Town is some of his best work as behind the camera. But Argo, watching it now, I really appreciated like how good. I've always been a fan of Ben Affleck, but his direction skills, on top of his acting skills, he's an excellent director. You can tell he really takes after like directors like Clint Eastwood, Michael Mann. I feel like those are the directors he really looks up to. And man, like I'm excited to see what Ben Affleck does moving into the future. I can't remember the last thing he directed. Maybe The Tender Bar. I think that was Clooney. I don't know, but like I've always enjoyed his work. I think he's phenomenal, and one of the better directors in Hollywood right now. All right. The last movie I watched, the last one I'll fucking talk about at least, is The Terminal 2004. Director Steven Spielberg, writers Sasha Gervasi and Jeff Nathanson, director of photography Janusz Kaminski. He's shot Schindler's List. He's shot Funny People. I think he shot Jurassic Park. No, it was Dean Cundy. Doesn't matter. This guy's a fucking legendary DP. He shot many great movies. You see his name pop up, you know it's going to be beautifully shot. Starring Tom Hanks as Victor Navorsky, Catherine Zeta-Jones as Amelia Warren, Stanley Tucci as Frank Dixon, Chi McBride as Joe Mulray. I don't even remember the Joe Mulray character. But anyways, this movie's extremely understated. The Terminal's a movie I've seen in the past. I remember watching it when it came out. It was around that Catch Me If You Can time. I watched it many times as a kid. I haven't watched it since. Stevie saw it pop up. We've been on Spielberg kick. He's like, The Terminal. Like, have you heard of this? And I'm like, dude, you've seen this movie with me, but he didn't remember it, and Christina never seen it, and we all love Tom Hanks. We also can't get over like how many good movies Tom Hanks has been in, like Castaway, Forrest Gump, The Terminal, Toy Story. The motherfucker is just like, he's got a well-earned reputation in Hollywood, to say the least. But anyways, The Terminal is about Victor Navorsky. He's a guy from a fake country, Krakosia, which is, I don't know if it's supposed to be Poland or an Eastern Bloc country, some former Soviet Union country, perhaps Bulgaria even, where while he was flying, there was a coup in his country, and now he gets to America, and like, your country doesn't exist, technically. Tucci's the guy that runs the airport, and he's like, with the fucking, what do you call it, Homeland Security. He's like, yeah, like, you kind of are in a gray area. Your country doesn't exist. There's no government for you to get a new passport from, and you can't go back to your country because your country kind of doesn't exist right now. So he's like, I'm going to let you stay within the terminal. That's the only place you can go. I'll give you meal vouchers, but he's like, you can't leave. You can't go out into New York City. He's like, or you'll get arrested. So anyways, he stays in the terminal, and he doesn't really understand America. He barely speaks English, and like, he's thinking he's going to be there for a night or two. Well, he ends up realizing how fucking different America is, how there's like a hustle culture to some extent. People are more weary, in my opinion. But he ends up learning the American grind all within this terminal. He learns he loses the meal vouchers, right? And he has to make money, and he starts figuring out that he can return cards for quarters. And he learns kind of like, he's like, oh, capitalism. Like, look, like if you do something, work, you can make money. And he just starts, it's funny. It's funny. It's just an interesting perspective on like a guy who has like nothing. He comes to America for like one reason, to go to this jazz club that his dad always wanted to go to, right? To get one more signature out of all the collection that he had. He didn't have this one guy's signature. So he comes to America to do that, and he gets stuck in this terminal, and like what's supposed to be 1 or 2 nights turns into like, I think like 90 days. He's there, maybe even longer than that. He's there for like a fucking almost a year. And through his stay there, he becomes friends with some of the staff members. He becomes useful to the Dixon guy, the Stanley Tucci character, as like there's an incident where there's like a Russian guy and he has to translate for him. And he starts to get smart to how other people are trying to manipulate him or otherwise. He meets a woman, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and like their romance is kind of understated as well. It's like they're never fully in love, but like she obviously is attracted to him and everything, but like she's kind of like in her late 30s, early 40s, and like she doesn't really know what she wants, and she tells him that, and he's like, well, I know we have something either way. And like their romance kind of blossoms and then I'd say fizzles at the end, but it's an interesting romantic line. They never fully get together in the movie, which I think is like kind of the character Tom Hanks plays. Like he's more of a not an all or nothing guy, but he's looking for love. She's looking for, I guess, the next guy kind of. She says, she's like, I just like, I'm a serial dater. Um, But he has relationships with her. He has relationships, like I said, with the Homeland Security guy Dixon. Some of the other staff workers that are there, they don't like him at first. They don't trust him. They think he's a plant. Uh, End up becoming his friends. They play poker and they give him food, and they all become friends, right? They tell him their stories and they help him when he goes on dates with the chick. It's a very sweet movie, honestly. It's quite comforting. I'd even throw it into like the Christmas category, like in terms of like vibe, like not the same as a Christmas movie, but like if you threw it on, it's very like the emotions when they hit are very nice. Tom Hanks is a phenomenal actor. He can bring the emotions to the surface that you want to feel. But the movie has this mellow ride and this nice tone, and the stakes never feel so high that it's like you feel like, oh fuck, this is so intense. It's like it's just, Spielberg's a master. He knows how to make you feel what he wants you to fucking feel. And he makes movies as an audience member. I can tell you right now, the way he watches that playback or like he makes that movie, you can tell it's somebody who loves fucking movies. Like, well, what would I want to experience while I'm watching this scene? What would I want to feel? And feel is so much of it. And I don't know, it's incredibly important as a director or a filmmaker to like think about like the feeling of the scene, the feeling of whatever, the character. And Tom Hanks as well, he really understood it. He understood the feeling of the character, as did Stanley Tucci, as did fucking Catherine Zeta-Jones. They all understood it. God, I can't remember his name. I think it's Diego Luna is in this movie. He's also one of Tom Hanks' friends. He's kind of he works at the fucking airport as like, I think he does like baggage, or maybe he does something else. He drives like a cart, I think. And then he kind of falls in love with Zoe Saldana's character, who's like, she does like the visa, like stamping, right? So there's all these minor characters that are also really big actors. Now they've all made their name, but I thought they're like, even their subplots, they're small, but they're just fucking really good. And they're all connected back to Tom Hanks, Victor Navarsky character, who kind of brings all these people together. Also, something I should mention is Victor lives in gate 67. He finds an empty gate that is being remodeled. And while he's living there, he starts to remodel it himself because it shows that maybe back in Krakosha, he was a contractor or a builder, an engineer, does beautiful work. And Spielberg's also got this beautiful comedy he blends in where it's like Tom Hanks' character is working and then somebody comes in and they're like, oh, uh, who are you? And he's just like, oh, he doesn't really speak on English. He's like, I just doing work. And they're like, this must be so and so's guy, And they're like, we're gonna poach him. They think he's working with another contractor, and they're like, you did all this yourself? And he goes, yeah, like I did it. And they're like, fuck it. And they give him a job. He couldn't get a job at the airport. That's the thing. He tried to get a job at every single store. And then he ends up remodeling this thing and he gets hired the next day and he's making more than everybody there. He's making like $75 an hour building. And he's good at it. And it shows you like this guy, like he might not be able to express himself with words throughout the entire film, but like he keeps surprising you. You're like, oh, this guy's handy. He's good with his actual hands. He can build shit. He's a legitimate like contractor engineer. Oh, he's actually a good person to talk to. He actually listens, He's a really good person. He has a big heart and like his character makes you kind of want to be a better person as you watch it. It's a heartwarming movie. I could put it anyway. But anyways, really loved it. I thought The Terminal was probably one of Tom Hanks' better films and better characters he played. Also, he was just so all in. I kind of said that, but like he becomes Victor Navorsky in this film. The accent, the way he talks, his emotions, the way he is, it just shows you how look, movies are make believe. You're playing somebody, right? It's all play at the end of the day. But like to give so much of yourself away to being just that person and not being afraid to do it or insecure and just like fully committing to the bit, whether it's not just the bit, but the actual performance. He's one of those people that can do it. He brings out that magic in cinema that like, I think we all yearn for. And I think it's coming back. I think movies are getting ready to change. I just saw I don't know if you guys follow producer Patrick on Instagram, but he posts great posts about Hollywood. And he kind of said that Hollywood tried to buy all the old talent, like the streamers tried to buy all the old talent and make them make what they wanted to make, like movies by numbers. Like, hey, like Tim Burton, you're going to make Wednesday like we want it. Or so-and-so. I'm not trying to disparage, like there's Wednesday I enjoy. But like, you get what I'm saying. They got all the old fucking, dogs and said like, let's just make movies how we want to make them. We'll pay you. It's the only way you're going to get paid. Otherwise, we'll get someone else to do it. We got corporate filmmakers here that'll just shoot the shit. We'll take your crew and get somebody that we like to direct it. It sounds brutal, but I think it's true. Has it paid off for them? I don't fucking think so. Nobody wants to watch their shit. Movie theaters are kind of like, apparently movie theaters are popping, but like that was the narrative for a while. It's like, well, the movies all suck. Also, it's like, how many more super fucking whatever movies do we need? Like, the cow's been milked. You don't need to reboot the fucking franchise again. Just like do what you're gonna do with this last wave, and then let's just fucking put it to bed for a little bit. We could all take a break. Unless it's Batman, just keep fucking making them one after one. We'll take them. I kid. Look, I like all those movies, but I get what people are saying. Like, movies used to be just incredible escapes from reality and incredibly well made, and so much more than what I think they are right now. And I think it's getting back to that place. There's been a big shift. I talked about it on some of the last few episodes about, Obsession or Backrooms, but just wait. It's just a change of hands. It's like Hitchcock. Hitchcock, I think his last movie sucked from what I read. But like, if you watch Psycho, you're like, this is like the best fucking thing I've ever seen. Even today, I throw on Psycho and Big. This might be one of the best movies I've ever fucking seen. Every dog has its day, and I think Hollywood's just in a transitional period. The studios are getting bought out. New directors are rising, new talent's coming up. It's just how the fucking cookie crumbles, man. So, Terminal, 2004, Steven Spielberg, starring Tom Hanks, 10 out of 10. I may even watch it again. Anything's possible, right? Anyways, I think what my plan is for the night is I'm very tired. It's 9:50, which is 9:53. Stevie and Christine left. I think they went to Planet fucking Fitness to do a little exercise before coming back here. They wanted to get out of my hair for a little bit while I shot the pod. But yeah, I think I'm gonna fucking just put in a low gear, chill, maybe take a little walk around the neighborhood. I'd like to watch Deep Blue Sea later, but I think later is gonna end up being fucking midnight. I'm gonna have my fucking eyes shut. I'll tell you what, I am fucking ready to just relax. Also, unfortunately, our pool closes at 10 here, but I don't know, a little hot tub doesn't sound bad right now. I might have to sneak in after hours. Anyways, like I said, the move was intense. It was a lot, really fast. I finally had some time to process it, and like honestly, like all good feelings from here on out. I'm really excited. And yeah, I think that's about it. I think I got the rodeo coming up. We got some fun shit coming down the pipe. Might have some people over this weekend, just do a little housewarming and just, enjoy it. One last thing I'll say is that we got this banging deck. You can't see it right here, but over to my right, beautiful outdoor deck. I mean, we've been cooking fucking sausage and burgers, barbecuing like crazy. I can't express to you how nice it is to be back out in like these parts. Like you just feel like I can see my neighbors' houses. You feel like you're alone. You feel like you're in your own private fucking oasis, to say the least. So anyways, guys, I'm very happy. I hope you're all happy. I hope you've all had a fucking wonderful 4th of July. Great July so far. Great summer so far. And we're going to get back on track. We're going to be talking once a week regularly like we always have. And I'll pick a day. I might go back to Mondays. I love dropping a Monday episode. It feels right. But yeah. All right. I think that's about all I got, folks. I'm Devin Thomas, and this is another episode of Unscripted. I'll talk to you all next week. Peace, guys.